So I just,
You guys ready?
she's so cute.
She's amazing. Yeah.
That's her. I just.
It's 10 o'clock. Then we'll go to work.
Yes.
Okay, you guys ready? All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. You guys will all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Okay, Cindy, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Next on the agenda is roll call. Jamie, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Queenie Bars.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Here.
In spirit.
Trustee Ed Hallam.
Present.
Trustee Richard Picard.
Here.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Here.
Trustee Nick Manning.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we can continue on. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented by staff.
One second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Denise Bryant and a second by trustee Nick Manning to approve the agenda as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the March 8th, 2023 meeting. I would entertain a motion.
Before a motion's made, I do want to say I made a little mistake on the executive session, and hopefully David caught it. It's been fixed, so the minutes you have are the corrected ones to sign.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the March 8th meeting minutes as presented by staff.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Richard Tokar and a second by trustee Denise Bryant to approve the minutes of March 8th, 2023. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Okay, motion carries. Moving right along to audience business, and we have Jessica Schneider to speak.
I'm not here to speak, I'm just here to start.
Are you sure?
Yep.
You want to say anything?
Hi, how are you?
Well, welcome, and please come anytime, okay?
Do I need to stand?
No,
There
not
you go.
unless you do want to say something.
No, we just moved to Mancos and Cortez.
Cool.
I'm just so happy to be here.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. Well, welcome.
Thanks for
Welcome.
coming. Tell your friends.
Yes. And if you got any information on what we were talking about earlier, feel free to write down some ideas and things and get with us on communication and let people know, because we really are trying to reach out to our constituents. Okay, announcements.
Just a reminder that we do have still a vacancy as for an alternate on our planning commission. Nick is the trustee liaison, Queenie has to sit over there by statute. And we have a full planning commission, but we do have a vacancy for an alternate. And we still have a vacancy on the tree board as well. So if you know of anybody, as you're talking to people who are interested, both of those meet once a month. Just a reminder again, just for the record, I will be out of the office from March 30th through April 9th. I'll return to the office on April 10th. I will not have access to email or voicemail. So I'll set my out of office, and then Jamie will check over this one on. Other than that, right now, not a lot, just all things grant season, and staff has been very busy with things. That's it, short and sweet today.
I'm glad you're disconnected.
Okay. Next, and just, you did hear that we have some vacancies if you're interested in getting involved.
She just moved here, don't overwhelm her.
I'm already on 2 boards. I don't think I can.
Oh.
3 is a good number, no?
And I'm going to school for full-time and working full-time.
Okay, yeah, you're exempt. You're exempt.
You're busy.
Tell your friends.
Okay, committee reports, the Montezuma County Commissioner update. I don't see Gerald here tonight. Montezuma County Planning Commission, I attended the meeting last week, and there was 4 things on the agenda, but none of them were in Mancos, so only one was consensuous, and it went a little long, but it finally, they did not refer it on to the commissioners, so I'll have to go back to the drawing board. So we'll go from there when it comes up. It doesn't relate to Mancos, but when it comes up, I'll let you guys know about it. Region 9.
Okay, so I think Jason might have sent out to you guys. I'm going to just talk a little bit about just a portion of it. It's called the economic base analysis. And they just updated this last month. And what I'm going to try to put in a nutshell here for you is what brings money to the community. You know, we're just talking about our constituents, but this is what brings money into the community. And so I'm just gonna focus on not the whole Region 9, but what's going on in Montezuma County. So I'm just going to give a little percentages of jobs in this base industry that brings money in. So in Montezuma County, we have agricultural businesses, that's 14%. We have mining, 2%. Manufacturing is 3%. Government is 6%. Regional services is like 20%. Tourism is 18%. And then we have households is the biggest number, is 37%. So we ask ourselves, what does households mean? Okay, so households basically are commuters, so workers who go out of the county and they come back and they live here and spend their money here. And the other big portion of this household is retirement, people who have different incomes coming in, but they're not working. So that in all of Region 9, that is a big number because most of Region 9 relies heavily on household spending. Okay, have I lost anybody yet? Are we good? Okay, so I'm just gonna I could go into each one of these are separate, the mining, the agribusiness. We could talk, about regional services. Just so you know, regional services are like businesses, communication, construction, finance, insurance, real estate. That's all kind of regional services. So that's one of ours. But the big one, again, is what we call household spending. So that's one of the most important in the area. And so households that spend money earned elsewhere, the commuters, and different points of time are the retirees, that stuff that we have coming in. So household incomes include money that comes from outside of the local economy, including transfer payments to retirees, that's like Social Security, Medicare, and unemployment, disabled, and interest, dividends, and rent. Household spending supports jobs in the local community, such as our local barber and such as the clerk in the supermarket and coffee shops, and it's the same for the commuters. So this spending has gone up for household spending. And I can even give you more facts about how it's broke down in Montezuma County. From commuters, they said there's 794, retirees, there's like 3,140. So I'm just gonna stop here because because there's a whole bunch more information that we could go on and on. I think why this is important and why I wanted to report on this is because it's really, our constituents are retirees. And that's where the money that is coming into this community, that's what's kind of propping us up and holding us up. So we're kind of a glorified retirement community.
The veteran community.
Yes, and a commuter community that historically been called that veteran community. So people going elsewhere to take their skills elsewhere and coming back. Mm-hmm. So that kind of gives you an idea of where the money's coming in. And there is, we can go into more in-depth conversation. Jason's probably got a lot more info and insight into this too, but we can talk more about government, manufacturing, regional services, and so on. But I find this really interesting to know, this direct basic industries, how the money's coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CDOT,
No meeting,
no meeting.
no, not until the 15th or something next month.
Okay, all right. Do you want to report on the planning commission?
Yeah, so planning and zoning is, I've been to 2 meetings, and both meetings they were reviewing the comprehensive plan, which is actually in the back of, chapter 4 is in the back of your amendment. They're going through it sentence by sentence, a lot of grammatical stuff, typos, correcting it, calling out things that maybe need to be changed. The next meeting is chapters 7 and 8, and 9 and 10. So they're headed towards the end of that, and then some design review guidelines next meeting. So yeah, but they're neck deep in the comprehensive plan, and there's a vacancy.
I have a question. Is this an okay time to ask you a
Sure.
question?
Yeah.
Where did this originate from?
I don't know. I know Jason put a lot of work into.
The comprehensive plan?
Yeah, where did P&Z, where did all this come from?
It's been in existence
For years.
here.
I think Jason made the last pass, and then right.
So the comprehensive plan is required by statute. We have to have it. We've had one, the town has had one historically. In 2011, we had an intern, best and brightest intern from ROLA for 2 years, who did nothing but the comprehensive plan, so she rewrote this
That's what it is.
Because this is a really good document.
Yes.
There's a lot more.
So what Jason has been doing is he's been going through it prior to getting to planning commission. He goes through it, it's very data heavy. So he's been going through and using data from the 2020 census, because when it was drafted in 2011, they used data from the 2010 census. So we're updating census data, and then the planning commission is also reviewing the goals. We've accomplished a lot of the goals in the original document. So they're, we're getting ready to work with the accomplished, adding new ones. And then once all of the chapters are done, you will get a final review. The planning commission will adopt it. And then we'll be kind of done with that project. It should be done every 10 years or so. And what Jason and I have discussed is maybe the next go round may be time for a new plan. Best practices change, ideas change, thoughts change.
Sure.
This time, we're doing it using in-house data resources. If we want to completely revamp the comprehensive plan, we will need a consultant, and you're looking at five figures or more, 6 figures for a project like that, so we can be comfortable.
But it's helpful to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to apply for grants. And
Yes.
it's a comprehensive plan. Yes, exactly.
And it's the guiding document for the town. Every other study or report or work plan or idea comes from the comprehensive plan. If it's not in the comprehensive plan, probably not something that we're going to spend a lot of time on. If housing was not in the plan, we would spend time on it, but it wouldn't be as big of a priority because we would have no transfer funding. That kind of thing. When we update our construction standards and our IBC, we will go back to the comprehensive plan because they have building requirements, things like that. So that's the guiding document for the whole town. Anytime we put out an RFP, comprehensive plan is included. anytime they apply for a grant, pages from the comprehensive plan are included. That tells all of us, you and everybody else, these are the priorities of the shop for the next 5 to 7 to 10 years.
Okay. Yeah, it's really great. I didn't know about this.
And the P and Z reviews it, and then they send it to the board has to approve it.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get to that.
Right.
but Yeah.
The board
Okay.
has to approve it.
Well, thank you.
So,
I didn't know yet.
it's definitely been interesting to sit through.
That's the right word, clean.
Okay, moving right along to the discussion and action items. The Mancos Conservation District Letter of Support for Water Smart Grant. Heather.
Yes, we make Conservation District is applying for a $3 million grant, and they have asked if we would draft a letter of support for their water smart grant. So it doesn't obligate the town in any way, either financially or contractually, and they are a partner of ours. We do cost share and intern with them. So I have a draft in there for your review. And I do want to say Cindy sent me a copy of her packet with her comments. So if there's a comment as we're discussing stuff, I will let you know unless Cindy wants to speak up. It's up to Cindy.
Cindy always likes to speak up.
There you go. So I'll just be quiet.
But I'll wait until last.
So does anybody have any comments on this letter of support? Is everybody in favor of us? Heather, in the announcement, so you did not announce that Monday we're going to do the groundbreaking for the Conservancy District?
Yes. Monday is the ribbon. I think Gretchen has advertised that as well. But we are a fiscal sponsor for the Conservation District for another grant for affordable housing. They're building a duplex. So they're doing their groundbreaking. Queenie's been invited to the groundbreaking on Monday.
Great.
Yeah, I just thought of that. So, okay, so I would just, do you need a consensus? I need to vote on it?
Well, I
Really
just need
look
a yes or a no. I don't need a roll call vote, but the board does want to see these for new projects. We do want to approve letters of support before I say.
How much additional staff time is required to be using the intern for this?
Oh, they save us a ton of time.
No,
Anytime.
No,
Oh.
how much staff time will this be required on our end?
This grant will require no staff time. They're applying, they're doing it, we're sending a letter of support. We'll take 30 seconds
okay.
tomorrow.
I mean, I've gone through the grant for what,
No,
you
this
can
one
absorb
is-
with as many pages as it is.
Oh, those are different grants. This grant, they are managing and they're applying for. And I will say on the affordable housing grant, they have done a phenomenal job. I send them an email that says, I need to do a quarterly report in 2 weeks. Can you send me X, Y, and Z? And I have it and I submit it. They're taking me less than 15 minutes a quarter to do the reporting for their grant.
Great.
They're amazing.
Good.
So I see a consensus for this. Send this letter
I
of
think the
support.
letter looks fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure Cindy
Yeah.
picked it apart.
Okay.
Okay, Cindy, your turn.
It's fine.
Okay. So then moving right along to the source water protection plan update.
So this project, we've kind of been working on, I think you guys have heard about it. And Cindy, you did send me some like grammatical and stuff. I'm not gonna go over every one of those.
Yeah.
But we did have, Terry has been involved in this project, and it's a collaboration with Mesa Verde National Park and Mancos Rural Water, because our original source water protection plan was a collaboration among those 3 entities. So Colorado Rural Water Association very kindly offered to work with us at no charge. And they have updated this document based on our feedback along with the other stakeholders. And the other stakeholders, excuse me, include U.S. Forest Service, BLM, Colorado Forest. There's just a ton of Water Conservancy District. We had I don't know, 15 to 20 people on every call.
Mm.
So this is the final document. Terry and I did have a quick conversation with Mesa Verde National Park. Mancos Rural Water was invited, but they didn't attend, to say, hey, is everybody good with the meat and everything of this document? Because I will need to give it to you for adoption once it's finalized. And then the park will need to do their process, and Mancos Rural will need to do their process. We all agree on the substantive items. I did have some kind of typos and commas, and I know that Mesa Verde did as well. So this is not the final, but the meat of this document is exactly what you will be asked to adopt. Like I said, maybe some commas and formatting, but nothing important. So if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, let me know, and I will go back to the group. Colorado Rural Water has to finalize this by March 31st. It doesn't mean if there's a glaring thing that you hate or miss, that we can't continue to work with Mesa Verde and Mancos Rural Water. But I think we covered most of it. The group that worked together was amazing. Montezuma County was on that group.
Cool.
Everybody really worked hard and were thoughtful and came to the meetings prepared. It was a good project to work on.
Success.
Yeah.
It's a really good document. It's, first of all, it's really important. And after you read this and you go, really, really important. So, and I think it's very well put together and good language.
I don't know if Cindy has any substantial changes.
Did you have a lot of substantial changes, Cindy?
Nothing substantive, just a lot of like typos, punctuation, some formatting issues, just things like that just need a little cleanup. But I didn't have anything substantive. I thought it was a really well done document, just like kind of, if we can, cleaning up some of the graphics. They're kind of fuzzy, just stuff like that. Just weird OCD stuff that I like to pick out.
Right. Well, it just makes us look more professional too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's what it is. So, Richard, did you have anything?
No, I didn't. It looked really good to me.
Ed?
No issues at all.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
And tell those that worked on this that they've done a nice job, because it wasn't an easy job either, I'm sure, with everybody.
it was, like I said, it was one of the better projects. Everybody was just really amazing to work with. So what I'll do, the document is currently live for stakeholders to go in and do formatting and that kind of stuff. We're still waiting for some things like the Mancos Rural Water logo. On the 31st, though, it's going to close. So once it's closed, I will take Cindy's comments and go in and make sure that all of that grammar and punctuation and stuff gets done. And then I'll do it before then. And then once it's closed, I'll put it on the April agenda for you all to officially adopt.
Okay.
And everybody's good with the letter that she,
Absolutely.
okay. All right. Okay, so, next on the agenda then is the utility hardship clause discussion.
I put this on the agenda, Queenie and I talked about this. This is by no means required. We are not suggesting anything at this point. What I want to do is for the new board members to let you know that the language that I included in that staff report used to be in our code, and it was removed in 2016 via an ordinance that was adopted by the board. So we don't look back and we don't generally consider, but I just wanted to let you all know that we used to have a clause in there that allowed citizens to come to you and ask you for exceptions.
Well, and I asked her, her and I talked about it. The reason I'm asking about it is because we are a veteran community. We have a lot of retirees here. We have a lot of people who get transported out of here to Denver or Red Junction for medical issues. And if they're gone and their water pipes freeze and they don't know about it while they're gone, you know, if you're in town and you know you've got a water break, then it's hard for me to say, I'm going to work with you and waive your fees. But if your loved one is on their deathbed in Grand Junction or Denver, and you're there by their side and something happens at your house, and you come home to a flooded basement or a flooded house, that's more stress added on top of it. And I just think we need to have something in there where at that particular time, on a case-by-case basis, possibly we could. You know, they could come and let us know immediately that when they get home, if they get the water shut off, hopefully the town would see it and go shut the water off if they're up there for 2 or 3 months. But life happens to all of us, and it could happen to one of us with a family emergency. Is the only reason I wanted something in there where we could do something. Now, if I'm in town and my water line breaks and I don't take care of it, that's on me. I need to pay whatever it is. But I right now have 2 people who could be in the hospital in Denver at any given time, and something could happen at my house. So I do try to have somebody go over and check my house. And we did have that incident. I called Wes on a Saturday. We had a funeral in California, and they left Saturday morning. We went over to feed their cat Saturday night, and water's running. And so we called Wes, and he came and shut the water off immediately for us. But, you know, if we hadn't been over there to feed the cat, they were gone for 2 weeks. They'd have a mess when they came home. So that's why I wanted to bring it up and just have us talk about it.
So I'm not opposed to that, but you're actually putting the board into a judge and jury situation where we have to decide who's telling us the truth and who's not. I mean, we don't know who's out of town, who's not. I mean, I think this is not the place for this discussion. I think we ought to have this at a retreat of some sort where it's just the board members, so we can speak freely amongst ourselves about what issues we could have with this.
Or at a workshop.
Well, I don't even think a workshop is long enough.
Our retreats are open to the public too.
Well, but I understand that, but I don't think a 1 hour meeting is gonna resolve this. I think we need to have some form of a retreat, and this needs to be a talking point at it, because there's all kinds of options that can happen. I mean, you're putting the board in a very difficult place where if it's my friend, I wanna do it, your friend, you wanna do it, I mean, it needs to be black and white.
Yeah.
All right. I get that,
Right.
where somebody's gone and their water went, you know, I get that.
Well, I'm not saying they're going to on spring break on vacation.
Well,
I'm thinking an emergency.
I understand that, but
Right.
you also, so what kind of break are you going to give them? Are you going to give them a flat rate at it? Or are you going to give them? I mean, there's all kinds of
Right.
discussion points about
There
this, and this is not the place to discuss it. I think we need to have this at one of our retreats as a talking point for 2 hours or an hour or whatever it takes, and then we have our other stuff.
I guess, this is what kind of helps me. I was on the board in 2016, but I came in 2016. I don't remember us taking this out, but I do know that one of the things that we didn't like, that I didn't like when it was on there before is, the board of trustees will have sole discretion in the implementation of the hardship. I think, as Richard said, there needs to be some set rules of what, not just helter-skelter, we're going to give you this or we're going to give you less because we don't know you and we know her. That's what I don't like. And like you said, the friendship scenario. But to me, if we said, if so determined, the board can do X, Y, or Z.
Right.
No more, no less. That way it's there, it's in black and white. They know what their options are. Because when you say the sole discretion of the board, that's open for anything.
It is.
That's only, and so, whether it be in a workshop, whether it be in a thing, but I do think it's gonna take some time for us to hash out what, and in the meantime, we could even send out what our thoughts are on that and let Heather, collect it and bring it back. Because I know I feel, certain ways, and I've sat on another water board and the way they handled it, I've sat Mancos in years past, when I was a board member and mayor, we handled it in a certain way. So I think it should be defined. That's the only thing I think. You know, it should be the board's discretion or decision to say, yes, we will grant it, or no, we won't. But we need to have a set of guidelines on what we do or don't grant.
And I agree with that. I just wanted to bring up the discussion.
In light of what happened recently, I think it's important that we do that so that there's no questions, you know. He said, she said, oh, I thought, this is what we believe. It's in black and white. This is what will or could happen at the board's discretion. It takes the onus off of the staff and finger pointing.
Nick, what do you think?
Did you want to say something?
Oh, Cindy, do you want to?
Sure. I agree with Richard. I think it is going to require an extensive conversation because there's the should we or shouldn't we, and then there's the why would we, and getting specific criteria. What kind of proof are we going to ask for? Do we ask for plane tickets and cause of death kind of certificate? We really need to, consider a lot of things, and what can we waive and what can we not waive. So I agree with Richard that I think it requires an extensive conversation. I think a retreat would be a good idea because it's really a pretty massive policy if we change it or if we don't change it. It's a pretty significant policy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what's been said. I think I really like the compassionate intent behind it. I think it's way too subjective,
Yes.
and it's kind of a slippery slope. If we're doing it for one thing, then why shouldn't we do it for everything, right? So for me, I don't like the idea of it coming to a vote that we vote on. I think it needs to be much more of a rubric or a metric where people know what to expect. So that there isn't this illusion that we're playing favorites, and we can maintain a sense of disconnect and professionalism in our job. I think that's really important. So yeah, I mean, I like it, but it's way too ambiguous. Even the way that's written in the old policy, I think it's very ambiguous.
But that's what we had to go on, so that's why we brought it up, just to have this discussion and then have further discussion.
Yeah, of course. So using that as a point of reference, I like the idea, but it needs some work, as Richard and Cindy allude to. I think it's a really big deal to prove something like that, and I think if we're going to take that into account, we have to take a bunch of other stuff into account as well. And yeah, Cindy's point about what do we use as proof, is a good point.
Jeez.
I like what I've heard. I like the discussion. I would be willing to entertain having a discussion around this, and I think the suggestion to do it at a board workshop is better than any other. Is that what I'm talking about? A workshop versus retreat. That's what I meant. Yeah. Because there is a lot to iron out here and how to make this fair and so on. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to entertain this idea.
Okay. And I think that's all we was asking for tonight, was just to see if we, wanted to further discuss it. And so do you?
I don't need anything else. We generally have a retreat in May or June, because we start talking about the budget for 2024, budget priorities. Mm-hmm. So I will hold on to this until we schedule that retreat, and then, yes.
I was wondering if Dave had any legal
Can we do
advice
this?
on this. I mean, 'cause this could get pretty sticky.
I was going to ask him to research it, because I don't know if he's researched it.
Yeah, not at this point. I don't remember why it was removed. I know we want to treat the same class of customers equally.
Right.
And ultimately, it's taxpayers that are.
Right, and what I'm saying is, we don't want the previous ones that had huge water bills to come back and say, hey, we owe you some money. I mean, is what I'm
I
saying.
don't think that would, I think that we could easily,
They could cross that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they would move forward.
Okay.
Nothing is ever retroactive. No, because if you choose to add some type of language, your matrix, your rubrics, whatever, that will need to go into the code.
Yeah.
So that will be an ordinance. And ordinances are not retroactive, they're always new. So what I'll do for my information is send David a, hey, can you do some research? Give me some statutes, give me some info,
Right.
stuff that I can then bring to the retreat.
And maybe even some legal terms, how we could verify certain things,
Right.
you know. I mean, because we really can't ask people for their Visa card, their Visa bill, and say, hey, can you prove that you were on vacation? Legally, we probably can't ask them for that.
Well, and well, I can reach out on the clerk's list or something for that kind of thing, and he can reach out on the attorney's list. So it's not just what proof are you going to require, but to Nick's point is if you're willing to waive this, what else are you willing to waive? That is something else. What can we or can't we? There are some things that we cannot waive. And then there are other things where you have some discretion, but we don't. So I don't think even having a retreat discussion, it'll start the discussion, but I don't think it's going to be solved in one conversation.
No.
So I will do some preliminary
For
research.
government, nothing's solved in one
Yeah.
conversation.
I'll do some preliminary research with David prior to the retreat, and then based on where we, it's going to be a continuing, ongoing discussion. Because I do think that it's going to open other items.
Pandora's box.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm wondering if there's a better mechanism for this. I mean, we want to support hardship assistance for the people of Mancos. Is there some other mechanism, a nonprofit out there, or something else that could help?
There's tons of
There are
And that's what I'm
There's
wondering.
tons of nonprofits.
And that's what I'm wondering, if there's a better.
Share that information. I do share that information. I have a list that actually we compiled, Shaq and I compiled it during COVID of all of the organizations that can help with everything, not just water and sewer, but with rent, with groceries, with gas money, with transportation to medical appointments. So that is, we do have several organizations, not only in town limits, but in Montezuma County, then on the western slope, and then the state as a whole. So there are organizations that do this kind of thing, so I'll bring that.
Thanks.
But I do think it's gonna be more than a one-day discussion.
Yes,
I
agreed.
So I'll do
Well,
whatever.
and I think too, if we were to pass like this exact same language again and stick it back in, it totally removes the incentive for people to fix their water lines, water breaks, and a water leak is gonna impact everybody in town.
Yeah.
Because it's treated water that we're losing into the ground. It could ruin the road. It could flood a neighbor's house. And there needs to be accountability for people to fix stuff. And I have to say, I have a good job, and I'm not sitting on a bunch of money in my savings account. If I got hit with a $5,000 bill, that would be extreme economic hardship to me.
Yeah.
But I would also think I owe this money to the town because it's my water line, So I don't like what we had at all. I think, like Mick pointed out, Queenie brought up a really good, compassionate point. If somebody's on an emergency, they had to just drop everything and leave town, and something happens, well, maybe we could address that. But if I go out of town, I arrange for a house sitter, I have somebody looking at my house, what's going on with it, and I think that people need to have some accountability.
Yeah, and I that's why I brought up the compassion at the end of it, is because that does happen with so many of us being elderly and having to an emergency and being flown out and not being here, and possibly not, you're not thinking about having somebody go check your house. Now, if I'm going to go on vacation, I'm going to have somebody check my house.
You never shut your water off when you leave.
Yeah, you know, but again, yeah, if I'm gonna be gone for, you know, a month or so, yeah, I am gonna ask the town to shut my water off for a month, so I don't have that issue. But I agree with the accountability. I don't like exactly the way it was worded, but I just thought we needed to look at other circumstances, have a discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we got kind of a consensus on that,
Yeah,
so
I think
we'll move
so.
right along. All right, the next thing is Resolution 7, Series 2023, the CDOT TAP grant application.
So, Terry, you guys all know, CDOT is doing, installing 74, what they consider 74 ADA intersections, from Monty Street to Main Street on Grand. Basically, we had a conversation with them on Tuesday, and I discovered that each intersection is composed of 8 ramps. And each ramp costs approximately $25,000.
And you said there was how many, 76?
74. So CDOT is doing that portion of the project. They're awesome, amazing, and wonderful, and they're doing it as part of their project. What the town would like to do is install 860 linear feet of sidewalk on Grand where there aren't any. There are several sections where there are no sidewalks. And this is from Monty to Main Street, just to keep trying to clarifying that, because Main Street East is a separate project. It is phase 2. I've talked to CDOT about it, but we're doing Monty to Main Street right now, then we'll move on.
600 feet?
840. So, I have given you the grant application. The budget has changed. I received it today from CDOT. I think the important thing here for you guys is we're looking at asking for $1.1 million. The town's cash match will be somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. The total cost of the project is $2.8 million. So we can have all of that done for $200,000 to $300,000. And again, CDOT will manage this project for us. They're doing all of the environmental now as we speak. They're doing all of the right-of-way acquisition, whether they're temporary or permanent easements. They're doing all of the design for us. They're doing everything for us. One other component of the project is the intersections at Main and Bauer, because the bus stop is right there. So they have proposed some changes to the roadway with some bus stop improvements, like a shelter and a bike rack and a bench and that kind of thing. We have spoken to CDOT about if we don't receive all the money, how are we going to reduce the scope of the project? So all of that is still up in the air. CDOT is only at what they call FIR. It's like 30% design. There's still a long way to go. They're going to finish 30% design this year. We're going to have all of next year to finalize design and construct in 2025. They're hoping for a one-season construction, so it'll be done in 2025. That's what I heard on the phone. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed. But with them managing the project, I do think it'll go much smoother. They're amazing for us. They're so wonderful. They've done so much work with me on this grant application. Obviously, all the plans and stuff in here. This is good. That's something for sure. And I think that with them managing the project, it'll go smoother because they all know what they're doing. So the big thing I want you guys to, before you approve this, the big thing I want you to understand is town cash between $200,000 and $300,000 in 2025. Those are the big items that you need to be aware of, that you would be approving if you approve this resolution.
And you think the 300,000 is going to be the top? I don't think it'll go up.
I don't believe it'll go up because we will not have any other cash. We have other projects out of the general fund. So, and I'm hoping to get by with less than 300,000. 300,000 is the max, and that's only if we get the TAP grant of 1.1 million.
Yeah, if we don't get the TAP grant, then it's.
No, and I'm not confident that we'll receive the TAP grant. As fabulous as CDOT Region 5 is to us, they do have only 3-point-something million for the entire region 5.
Gotcha.
So the fact that depending on how many applications they get, you know, that kind of thing, will determine whether or not we receive our 1.1. Maybe we'll get 750,000, maybe we'll get 500. So those are what will happen is depending on our grant award, we will then have to reduce the scope. So for example, the first thing that I would probably recommend is taking out the intersection there on Main and Bauer. That saves $200,000 right off the top. Excuse me. We can install a shelter and a bike rack and a bench for the bus stop. Sorry. We don't need to do cutouts on grant. You know, there are things that we can do. I apologize.
Here, you want water?
To reduce the scope of the project.
I didn't open it.
So, and all of those discussions will happen over the next year and a half with CDOT. And like I said, it will be dependent, but the ceiling is $300,000 if we receive a $1.1 million grant and we construct all 74 grants.
Yeah, and that's not saying CDOT's gonna do all 74 routes, is what you're saying.
That's correct. It depends again on the funding. This is worst case scenario for you all.
Dollar-wise.
Because I want to make sure you're aware that if you approve the resolution and I apply for the grant, it's changed a little bit since it's been in here. Originally it was a $200,000 match, but they've adjusted some construction numbers. So maximum at this point is a $300,000 match. If project went sideways and we needed more than that, I would absolutely have to, first of all, consult the staff and then come to you all and say, hey, do we have money? Can we do this? Should we do this? What do we do?
Cindy, any comments?
I am all for this grant application.
Yeah, ditto.
Me too. Yeah, let's go forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the worst case scenario is we're out 300, you know, we have to put out 300,000 for a huge improvement to the town. It's a huge improvement.
Yeah.
If anybody's walking
And
down
with the
Grand Avenue,
aging
you gotta cross the street
population,
to find a sidewalk.
Yeah, we just talked about retirees.
We just talked about that will really improve, keep people walking.
Yeah.
I just have two questions. One is, we're not setting some, by obligating money prior to a future board. I want to make sure that's not an issue.
No.
Okay.
We're finding a grant application.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, because I know we can't commit future boards. The other one is, when other cities have done this, have any other towns, you know, I mean, we're kind of the last. Dolores got it, Cortez got it, Durango got it, everyone else got it. Did any of those, do you know if any of those applied for grants and were successful at, and if so, were successful at grants to help with that? I'm just asking.
I'm pretty sure Cortez got
I was just gonna say, I think Cortez got one. I do not know. I believe Dolores got one as well. Because
Okay, because that makes me feel better, because then that's more prone that we would probably also get one. You know, we're not just the first ones to say, hey, you know, and also give us some extra money.
Well, like I said, CDOT's been amazing. They've been a huge help for this. I do have to submit something to Tony Katie at CDOT by Friday. And that is a preliminary. This is a preliminary draft. That's why everything says draft. So I have to submit a preliminary to them by Friday. And then they will call us, we'll go through it. I'll probably end up tweaking it several more times with their feedback. And then the final submittal date will be in April 21st, 24th, something like that.
Well, I'm 110% behind it.
But I think Dolores did kind of sidewalks while CDOT did.
Yeah, no, and I hope so, because that would just help us and if they've done, the communities have done, and we're successful.
If you're inclined, I do need resolution 7. CDOT requires an actual resolution.
Any other discussion?
No.
Then I would entertain a motion.
I approve Resolution 7, Series 2023, resolution supporting the grant application for a transportation alternative program grant and completion of the ADA intersection improvements and sidewalk construction along Grand Avenue / Highway 160D in Mancos, Colorado.
I'll second that motion.
Second.
Beach is Cindy.
All right, we have a motion by trustee Richard Toker and a second by trustee Ed Hallam and Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson to adopt Resolution 7, Series 2023, a resolution supporting the grant application for a Transportation Alternatives Program grant and completion of ADA intersection improvements and sidewalk construction along Grand Avenue / Highway 160D in Mancos, Colorado. Jamie, would you call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson,
Aye.
trustee Ed Hallam,
Aye.
trustee Richard Tovar,
Aye.
trustee Denise Bryan,
Aye.
trustee Nick Mann.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And Heather, I just want to tell you, thank you, that did put me to sleep reading that, but the drawings and things, you've done a lot of work on that, and I know CDOT, you say CDOT did a lot of it, but I know the work that you put into it too, but that was tremendous. Okay, moving right along to Proposition 122 discussion.
So, CML put something out on their listserv, and I don't know if you all received their email, but we did talk, I did ask at the last meeting, CML is compiling some information on Prop 122. Are you all interested in talking about it or providing them with some feedback? So I did include just a one-page summary, just for clarification. Prop 122 is voters approved hallucinogenics, not all hallucinogenics, but several hallucinogenics. Decriminalized that at the last election. So obviously now the state is drafting rules and regulations, if you think of it like liquor licensing or marijuana licensing, that kind of thing. And I included a link to the entire document in 70 pages, but basically what I'm looking for in order to provide feedback to CML is, as CML is advocating and discussing the legislation and the policies and the procedures at the State House, do you want them to include a local control or an opt-out option for the individual municipalities and cities? Or do you want to stay silent on the issue? Or do you have something else that you would like some other information or ideas or opinions that you would like me to share with CML? At this point, it's a very high-level conversation. It's not kind of in the weeds. It's just, do we want CML to advocate for local control for this type of license?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Never
we've
thought of it.
got to.
Yeah.
What would be the negative if the local municipalities didn't have control of this?
Well, so for example, Fenceline has a type of liquor license that does not require you all to approve it.
Oh, okay.
So they get to go there as long as our land use code allows it. We have no say. I'm not
Picking on them.
I'm not.
No, you're just using it as an example.
But other liquor licenses, for example, Olio or Chivolo's or the liquor store.
Or the new bar.
Or the new bar, yeah, El Rio. They all require that the board approves their license after following some rules that we enacted. They have to follow the state rules and they have to follow the town's rules.
Oh, okay.
In order to apply for and receive a liquor license. Fenceline, for example, I just got a notice in the mail that said, we've already approved this. I just need you to verify that it's an allowed use under your land use code.
Can I ask, I know it's not the topic, but what's the difference?
So all they can serve
Fenceline
is, cider.
Not just that, it has to do with the manufacturing and the distillery. When we have the rum distillery, they have the same type of license.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's a manufacturing
Interesting.
piece of it.
Okay, so So you're using that to this.
And that's, so do you want, so for example.
So we don't have any say-so on that, where the other liquor license we do. So what I would like to vote, or my comment would be, no, I want control over.
That's local control.
I want local control. We need, just like many conversations we've had around the dispensaries, like how many are we gonna have, how many are we gonna allow? And Ed has said numerous times the market will dictate, well, we're down to one.
Right.
So I think that's a good, I think we should have local
We want
control.
local control,
Mhm.
okay. All right.
I agree.
This is on the mushrooms and things, isn't it?
This is that.
Yeah,
This is that.
mushrooms and fungi and everything else.
There's a list, there's a mescaline, there's different things in there. It's not that extensive.
It's not all hallucinogens.
Dimethyltryptamine, yeah.
LSD is still illegal.
DMT. I mean, I think some of it also, like, I mean, the local control, because we need the say-so of, say, Justin and other people who actually manage the community at this level to be able to say, like, yeah, the community can handle this, or no, there's a couple of red flags over here we need to be aware of. I think it's really important that there's local control over things like this.
Cindy?
Absolutely agree with what's been said. I support local control, and I think, one, just because I support local control of stuff like that, and I think that it makes it more fair, as Heather pointed out, like our liquor stores have to have local licensing, our marijuana shops have to have local licensing. I think it makes it more fair. So yeah, totally support local control.
So I think that's consensus. Do you need a vote on that?
I will, I don't need a vote, I will send your feedback to CML. And just say town of Mancos prefers a local control / outreach. And then that's where we are now.
Right.
And then once they drop their legislation, or if they end up putting together stakeholder meetings, I'll let you know. But I think at this point, they're gonna drop legislation.
Mm-hmm.
And they do, the governor appoints stakeholder committees and that kind of thing. I don't know how much more say we're going to have, but I'll at least let CML know we want local control.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda then is the comprehensive plan update review, chapters 2 through 4.
This goes back to kind of what we were talking about before. These are the comprehensive plan chapters that the planning commission has finalized. So, does anybody have any comments? I do see some actually substantial comments from, comments from Cindy. So, I don't know if Cindy wants to speak to those, or if you want me to.
Do you want to speak to him, Cindy?
I mean, I can say it. One of the things that we've really been trying to divest ourselves of as a town is this where the West still lives. That's not a town thing, that's the Chamber of Commerce. The town is Gateway to Mesa Verde. So I don't, we're in this document proposal, we're right back to, historic small town Western character, and we've tried so hard to remove that because we love the history of this area, but we need to look forward. And I think that we've had this discussion on other documents, and I think that whatever we came up with should carry through this one as well. It has like one little tip of the hat to the fact that people have lived here for thousands of years before white people came, but then everything else is just white, and we're not speaking to our, indigenous or Latinx community or anything. I mean, It's just like, oh yeah, this used to be Spanish, and we used to have Native Americans here, but they still live here. And so I don't like the way that a big chunk of this is written. And I think we need to make sure that we're actually defining the word Mancos or translating it properly. So, because it isn't just crippled, it's one-armed, like someone has lost an arm. So it isn't just crippled. But that was one significant issue I had with it. I really liked a big chunk of it. But, you know, we do repeat that community western small town heritage several times. And, like in 3.3, goals, objectives, and actions, objective number 1, you know, it rears up again. And I think we should just cut the sentence after historical significance. And not put that subjective statement in there, and it pops up several times. It's under actions as well. And I don't know, I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, so to speak. And then I'm just scrolling through as quickly as my mouse will do. A couple comments on, you know, some of the photos, like the Mancos River photo, it's kind of blurry, at least on my monitor. So maybe like a more crisp. And then, you know, a couple of typos that I pointed out. Heather's got those. I don't need to go into those. But substantively, those were kind of my biggest concerns, is that we're losing out on a bunch of people who live here and have lived here for thousands of years. So, that's it.
So you want us to send those back to the planning and P&Z?
Either that or, I mean, I don't know who's, like if it's their document, yeah, I would like their documents to be consistent with how we've asked for things to be worded. Because we removed that, if I recall correctly, we've removed that from our code, we've removed it from the Parks and Rec plan. I feel like we've removed that from several different documents lately. So I think we should be consistent.
We removed it from the design review guidelines that are under discussion.
Well, I just want to weigh in. I agree with what Cindy's saying because I've underlined that too when I was reading this. Yeah, it's a great history lesson. It's also really interesting stuff. But I've underlined it too, where the West still lives, boost. You know, I just think we got to rebrand the town. Okay, so Cindy's right. It's what the chamber is still sticking with that one, which, you know, but I think the town, we've really been talking about separating ourselves from that. And and I don't need it removed, but it's kind of misleading today. Ranching is still an important industry in the Mancos Valley. Well, I just went over everything what's going on here, and that's really not.
Agricultural is ranching.
Yeah, but that's not a big industry here. People here want you to believe that, but I don't think that supports that when you look at the Region 9 and where the money's coming in and that kind of thing. So that's just it. But I don't think that has to be removed, but I think they need to reword, take out some of their, where the West still lives.
So you have to realize that in the Mancos Valley, the ranches are the biggest pieces of land in this county.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're productive as far as monetary value, they are still a huge chunk of the existence here.
But this says it's an important industry.
Yeah, because I think that's part of what brings people to Mancos is the ruralness.
Yes.
If those weren't ranches and they were subdivisions,
they wouldn't
we would be La Plata County.
Yeah, and we're not saying we want that. This is really good. I'm just saying that it's
It's misleading.
It's misleading.
Because even the graph above it shows 6%.
Right.
I mean, it's barely.
Yeah.
The next thing they show is their graph, which is, it's only like 6%. I just told you earlier, it doesn't, it brings in like, what, 6% of money to the valley.
Yeah.
So it can stay. I'm just saying things like that are misleading.
Well, and I think if they just took out the important economic, whatever part and just said, the local ranches are still a huge part of the character of the area or something like that. So that is true, like Ed said.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
What if we, in the paragraph above that, rewording that where the West still lives, like that whole paragraph, to somehow include Gateway to Mesa Verde? That is our trademark.
Yeah.
Registered trademark.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that?
Definitely.
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Whatever happened to Mesa to the Mountains that used to be on the sign? That all went away. Those big "Welcome to the Mancos Valley" signs, and it used to say between the Mesa and the mountains.
Those belong to the chamber.
Oh, so they took that away. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I
kinda like that.
think I have some direction on that one, so I will send this back to them with your comments and potentially some suggested language, and then let them wordsmith it back up. And then Nick and Queenie, while you guys are at the meeting, you can also kind of share some.
Of course.
History.
I'll speak for all of you. That's great.
Anybody else have anything?
I think we beat that horse. Oh, sorry.
There's horses around the ranch.
Poor horses.
What horses?
Yeah, I forgot.
I saw two today.
My error.
Be careful. Next thing on the agenda then is the DOLA EIAF grant for the marshal's office.
Yes, I'm sorry, I missed this on the agenda because I was working on CDOT and I completely forgot that DOLA requires board approval via just a motion, a second, a roll call vote. You do not require a resolution. But we are working on funding for the marshal's office building. And funding is very, very thin on the ground for this project. We did apply for some congressionally directed spending through Senators Hickenlooper and Bennett and Congressman Milbert's office. I don't know what our chances are. The town has never applied for that type of funding before. So this grant, outside of those, this grant is our only financial option for assistance with the marshal's office. The project does include an emergency operations center, a satellite, what they call EOC. Currently it's in Cortez. So we will be that building will also be serving as a satellite EOC for emergencies that happen on this side of the county. We can easily collaborate with the plot. The entire project is $1.125 million for everything, for soils testing, for architecture, for design, for construction, for everything. Upgraded technology. The project also includes a solar component, same thing that we've got here on Town Hall. We'll be doing that in the marshal's office. And it will include engineering, electrical engineering, so that there is some type of backup system. So in the event of power failure during an emergency, that office can operate for at least 8 hours.
So backup generator of some sort, or?
Well, we're exploring those options because one of the two new components of this grant program, one, social equity. We have to show a social equity component, which I believe that we have in the grant application. And this is something else that Jason will make warm and fuzzy because he's super good at that. But there is a social equity component. The building will be available for maybe an underserved or population if they need to come in and use a private room for virtual meetings with attorneys or interpreter services or that kind of thing. So there is a component of that, and then DOLA has a new component of their energy impact grant, which is alternative power sources, whether that's electrical or alternatives to natural gas or whatever it happens to be. So I don't know that a diesel generator will work.
Propane.
It's,
That's
or
one of the
solar
options
with
that we'll
battery
try to
backup.
explore,
Right.
like for the backup. It's one of the options we'll try to explore, because that was my first thought. But when we talked about this with Patrick at Dola, there was silence on the phone, so we'll be having our engineers research some other options for us to see if we can be more environmental.
So you also said it was gonna be a backup center for,
Or, yes, for the EMC.
so is somebody gonna have to man that? Or is that something that comes with the emergency?
It
Comes with the
in the event
emergency.
of an emergency here, our staff's gonna be ready.
Well, but the emergency management staff will bring
And
staff.
yeah, Jim's Pratt, he was here, he can just pop right over here.
Right. But they'll bring their own staff.
There's, it looks like Shaw is listed on the budget as part of the electrical and backup options. I work with them quite a bit, and they have a Tesla power cells is something they've been pushing that are great. He's,
Yes.
so.
And I actually just today, again draft, but I actually just today received an actual written bid from him, because the other thing that this requires a written bid from everybody. So Jason kind of started some of the basic like projecting and that kind of thing. I filled in a bunch of stuff, but him and Jessica are gonna have to finish it in my absence, because it's due April 3rd. So I put together as much as I possibly can, and then they'll finish it. If by some chance we miss the April 3rd deadline, there's another round of energy impact funding that's due August 1st or something. So
But if we can get it in, it's damaging.
if we can get it in, this would be a good, it would help us. I think this round is going to be better. So it's better to get in the first round if we can. So, and that, like I said, the total budget is 1.125, and we would have a 25% match. So our match for this project would be $281,250.
And this would actually be over a multiple year expenditure, it wouldn't be a single year expenditure.
Correct. Yeah.
It'd be 2 years probably.
I would hope that by the time, because I'm gonna keep working, and I'm sure Jason and Justin are gonna keep working on the proposals and bids and design, because we have to have the product, we have to have the electrical engineering, we have to have the solar design, we have to, we have to have all of that stuff. So we'll be working on that kind of as we go, and then hopefully we can just construct next year.
But the length of time to build is going to fall in, unless you start on January 1 and finish by December 31, that's normally it's, so we're going to have expenses in 2 separate years, which helps in the budget.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
No.
Cindy, do you have anything?
I was reading through some of the statements, in the text field, and there's one thing that just jumped out at me, under demonstration of need. It's kind of a weird sentence. It's kind of in the middle,
What page is
and it
that
says,
on?
thus we are,
What page?
What page?
Hey,
Page 3.
page 3, sorry. It says, thus we are experiencing growth, the resiliency issues that follow. I think there's a word or two missing there. So maybe just kind of a run through and kind of, I didn't check all of them. It was sitting on this page and it kind of jumped out at me. But maybe just kind of double check and tidy up, once everything's in there, then just do a final sweep. But otherwise, I love this. I'm so happy that we're moving forward with it. So, yay.
Yeah.
I still want a swimming pool.
Thank you for catching that, Cindy. Jason's gonna wordsmith this for me. He's really good at that.
So when will we get any sort of draft about when the architects put something together?
So they sent 2 renderings. We have a floor plan, but I don't think we care about the inside so much.
Yeah.
They sent 2 renderings. One of them has a brick facade and one of them has a rock facade. And Justin is on vacation, so I did not want to include those because I don't know if that's what he likes or doesn't like, or so I wanted him to be at whatever meeting you guys see those at.
Yeah.
It is a metal building, but they sent different options for like, 18 inches and then 3 feet and 5 feet, and the whole building with either brick or rock. But I want Justin to have to be here for you guys. First of all, I wanted to make sure that's actually what he asked for, because I don't know. And second of all, I do want him to be able to be here to answer questions and hear your feedback. So we do have something else, but.
So we have time to ask him these questions?
Oh, absolutely. And what I will do is, I can ask him, maybe not by April 12th, but I can ask him for the second meeting in April to be prepared to, submit those drawings to you all.
Was that now?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
present the subs. So
I think somebody might have hit the mute button.
No,
I'll ask him to be prepared to do that for you all at the April last meeting.
Either someone hit the mute button or I just got hung up on.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, hit that, yeah.
Wait, no, Cindy, can you hear?
Hello?
Hold on. Can you hear?
No.
It's not muted.
It's not muted.
Did you mute yours, Cindy?
I think she didn't.
We can hear her.
What is she, 973?
Got me.
I think this is her.
Battery probably went dead.
Hi, everybody.
hi. Can you hear us?
Are you there?
Can you hear us?
I think the mute button is on or something.
No, it's
No,
not.
Something clicked and then I got hung up on.
It's gotta be on your end.
But I can no longer hear any of you.
Text her. It's you, not us. Yeah, somebody hit the mute button. She
What's
did.
her? What's her number?
Is anybody there?
Check yours.
It's
not.
Do we see her? Do you have her number, Heather?
Yeah, she's calling it.
No, can't hear anything.
We can hear you.
It's gotta be on her end.
She hung up.
Again,
I'm telling her to call my cell phone,
Okay.
and then I'll.
Listen,
On speaker?
Yeah,
I don't see anything here.
good enough.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
Oh, technology is wonderful.
Anyway, okay, sorry. But I do need if you're inclined to move forward with this grant, then I will need a motion.
Okay, well,
You think it's good?
I think it's good.
I just tried to call her and it's the person you're trying to reach or something calls at this time.
I think it's her phone.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna try her other one.
She has two.
Yeah, she's at work. The CDOT people give her.
Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm gonna put you on speaker. Hold on. There you go, because you weren't on mute. I don't know what happened. But there you go.
Yeah, that was weird. Just all of a sudden the meeting died.
Well, I think it was on your end, because we're fine on this end. Do you have any other comments on this?
Marshal's office.
No. Other than I think this is fantastic.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
Okay. I'll authorize the town administrator to submit the grant application for the Mancos Marshal Office and Satellite Emergency Operations Center to Department of Local Affairs Energy Impact Program and authorize the mayor to execute the grant contract upon award.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Richard Tucker and a second by trustee Denise Bryant and Rick Manning to authorize the town administrator to submit the grant application for the Mancos Marshal's Office and Satellite Emergency Operations Center to Department of Local Affairs Energy Impact Program and authorize the mayor to execute the grant contract upon award. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson,
Aye.
trustee Ed Hellam,
Aye.
trustee Richard Tokar,
Aye.
trustee Denise Bryan,
Aye.
trustee Nick Manning.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right. Moving right along, items for the April 12th meeting will be the Mancos School Board Joint Workshop at 6, right?
Yes,
And we will be feeding everybody, is that right or no?
yes.
Okay. All right,
What time?
6 o'clock. Oh. The next is the comprehensive plan update reviews, chapters 5 and 6.
Should we move that back and finish up the first? Or not? Was that the stuff that we sent back?
No, because they won't have a planning commission meeting.
Oh, until then, okay, so we'll leave that, okay.
The town of Mancos financial policies update. The Mancos liquor license.
It's the Mancos liquor store.
Okay, the Mancos liquor license renewal. Okay. And the Arbor Day proclamation.
And I have added one more item
Okay.
to the April 12th agenda is discussion of a trustee liaison for our attainable housing discussions, projects, that kind of thing. So it's a huge, huge project, as you all know, and I think it would be helpful to have a trustee who also can weigh in. For example, Janice has been super awesome, and she's going to a housing conference that Jason and I cannot attend because we're going to CCCMA the next week, and I will be back from vacation, and there's just so many opportunities coming fast and furious. And with Prop 123 happening, I wanted to ask the board if we could have a trustee liaison that staff can collaborate with, and then again, that trustee can bring information back to you all. So I want to put that on the April 12th agenda for your discussion, your review, your suggestions, your approval, or your no, we don't want to do that. I just think we should maybe have a discussion about it.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Next on the agenda is adjournment.
I'll race y'all home.
Okay. Bye, Cindy.
See you Sunday.
Bye.
I'm ready.